Hello guys, a very good afternoon and welcome to this live refresher session on the IBPS Clerk's main examination brought to you by TalentSprint. In this session, we will be looking at the section of quantitative aptitude, which is an important part of your examination. I'm sure all of you are fully geared up for this section and the overall exam as such, which is scheduled for this Sunday, right? So you just have about 2 days to go, or rather 1 day to go, and I'm sure you're all set to take the exam any moment now, right? Remember, I think at this minute when you're this close to the examination, just about 24 to 48 hours away, I would strongly recommend you all to cut your preparation fully and just kind of keep yourselves calm and composed so that you can give your best during the examination, right? There's no point in trying to prepare new stuff now or learning new things now, right? I mean, of course, this session will be like a refresher. We will touch upon some concepts of quantitative aptitude and revise whatever we had learned already, but then don't try to learn new things or try to practice too much at this point of time, right? Because it will only add to your panic and nervousness, which may hamper your performance in the examination. Okay, so yeah, otherwise is keep yourselves relaxed and I'm sure you'll be able to do well in the examination. Now we will be looking at some questions which have been picked up from our All India mock exam and the other mock exams that we had conducted for IBPS Clerk's main examination at TalentSprint here, and we'll be solving those questions, right? A lot of new varieties have been included in our mock papers, right, which includes questions on comparison of quantities, questions on data sufficiency, where the idea is reversed, right? I mean, a conclusion is given, you have to find out which statements will help us come to that conclusion, right? And then missing data interpretation, and data interpretation involving other concepts like time and work, time and distance, etc. And we have also discussed a lot about these topics and these question types in our earlier live sessions. So I'm sure all of you are as such ready, but let's quickly revise some of these concepts. And I'm glad to see that many of you have joined the session. So without wasting any time, let me get started. All I'm going to do now is present the questions to you all one after the other, give you some time to try it yourself, and then discuss the solutions, right? We will also have a couple of interesting questions on data interpretation, but let's start with something on number series. Now, number series, is an important topic. It usually carries a weightage of 5 marks, right? But then the question can be asked in a variety of formats. Like there is usual number series where you have to find out the missing number. Then there are questions where you have to find out the wrong number. And then there are other question types where a complete series is given to you, proper series, followed by another number. And you have to identify the logic behind that series, apply the same logic to this new starting number, and find out something else in the sequence. So that's what we have for the discussion today. So let me present these 5 questions on number series first, followed by some more interesting questions. So here we go. The first question is on your screens now. As you can see, you have a series of numbers given to you: 240, 30, 210, 35, 175, 43.75. And then in the next line, you have a starting number 480, followed by A, B, C, D, E. All you have to do is find out which of the following come in place of D. So identify the logic from the first sequence, apply the same logic to the second number, to the number in the second sequence 480, and find out what comes in place of D. I'll leave you with this for about 30 seconds or maybe 45 seconds, and your clock starts now. Preet, I guess, is the first one to respond. She has got 350 as the answer, waiting for more responses to come in. Yeah, you have to find out the logic in the series, apply that logic to the new number, and find out what comes in place of A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, Soumya has also got 350, waiting for others. As you can see, this was asked in our All India mock IBPS Clerk's mains exam, which was conducted on conducted on Jan 6th and 7th. Jan 6th and 7th. We have Vidya Rajan, Sahid, Neeraj, Shruti, Ashish, Preetam and others who have got 350 as answers. So let's discuss the solution now. So like we have discussed, like we have understood already, we have to identify the logic in the series first and then apply that logic here. Now what's the logic? It's simple. 240 divided by 8 gives you 30. 30 into 7 gives you 210. 210 divided by 6 gives you 35. 35 into 5 gives you 175, and 175 divided by 4 gives you 43.75. So what's the logic? If you look at the numbers 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. If you look at the operations, division, multiplication, division, multiplication, division. So we are alternating between division and multiplication and reducing the number by 1 in each step. So you got to do the same thing for 480 as well. Now what do we have to find out? What comes in place of D? So we actually don't have to waste our time in finding out E, right? Stop at D here, right? 480 divided by 8. 480 by 8 is equal to what? It will be equal to 8. 480 by A is 60. 60 into 7 is 420. 420 divided by 6 is equal to 70. And 70 into 5 is equal to 350. You understand? 480 divided by 8 gives you A. 480 by 8 is 60. 60 into 7, 420. 420 divided by 6. Just look at the operation on top. Same operation has to be applied. 420 by 6 is 70. Right? And 70 into 5, 350. So what comes in place of D? 350 is the answer. Do not waste your time in finding out 350 divided by 4 here. It makes no sense. Right? Sometimes in such questions, they ask you to find out what comes in place of A. Right? And you know what happens? I mean, it has happened to me. I'm sure there'll be at least a few of you who have faced a similar experience, right? So the question actually says find out what comes in place of A. I ended up doing all A, B, C, D, E and eventually realized that I have wasted my time because all I had to do is the first step. But I did second, third, fourth, fifth step as well, right? So the point is, don't waste your time. Do it really quick. Let's look at the next question. Here's the next one. We have 5 such questions. All these were asked in the All India Mock IBPS Clerks Mains exam conducted by TalentSprint on Jan 6th and 7th. So here's the next question. Again, a series given to you 10, 24, 45, 73, 108 and 150. You have to find out what comes in place of E. What comes in place of E? In fact, if you go back to the previous question, simple multiplication multiplication by 2 will also help us. I'll tell you why. I mean, like look at this. Let me just clear the screen. The answer is 350, remember. See, we have found that the operations are as follows. This divided by 8 gives you 30, into 7 gives you 210. Then again, divided by 6, right? 210 divided by 6 gives you 35. Yeah, 210 divided by 6 gives you 35, into 5 is equal to 175 and divided by 4 is equal to 43.75. Now the advantage in this particular sequence is that you see every number is just being either divided or multiplied by something, right? So overall, if you see, I can say 240 divided by 8 into 7 divided by 6 into 5 divided by 4 will be equal to 43.75. You understand? Without worrying about anything, I can simply say into 8 divided by 7 into 6 divided by 5 into 4, or divided by 8 into 7 divided by 6 into 5 divided by 4 will give me 43.75. Or suppose you want to stop at 175, I can say 240 divided by 8, yeah, 240 divided by 8 into 7 divided by 6 into 5. I can stop here. This will be equal to 175. You can check it yourself if you want to, right? I mean, just follow the BODMAS rule. So the point is, it is a kind of linear multiplication, either division or multiplication. So when you have to find out something else in the next sequence, right, you just observe that 240 has become 480. So if the numerator is doubled, the result will also double. So 30 will become 60. This will become 420. This will become 70. And 175 will become 350. So basically multiply everything by 2 into 2, because this has got multiplied by 2, right? This has got multiplied by 2. So simply multiply this by 2, multiply this by 2, multiply this by 2 to get the answer. So 175 into 2. So what did he ask us to find out? Which of the following will come in place of D? What is the equivalent of D? 175, right? Multiply 175 by 2, 350 will be the answer. Suppose this is what will come in place of E. I don't have to do all the drama. I can simply say E will be equal to 43.75 into 2, which is 87.5, right? 3.75 into 2 is 7.5, 40 into 2 is 80. 87.5 is the answer. Option 4 will be the answer. Suppose he says what comes in place of E. But remember, this is possible only in this sequence, not in all the number series questions. So don't make it like a general rule. It's not a general rule that can be applied. In the next question, maybe you will not be able to apply that. The previous question was based on additions and multiplications, so it was easy. Right? Previous question was based on addition and multiplication, so it was easy. Otherwise, it won't be possible. Okay. So Arun Kumar and others have asked this question, right? Would this work for every such question? It will work for every such question where you are simply adding or simply multiplying or dividing. If there is a addition or subtraction involved, then that technique would fail. Okay, answer for this one. How many of you got the answer for this one? 152 is what I see the answer from Sonam Gupta. She's got 152. Then we have Ragul, Shrishti, Neeraj, Ashish, Shubham Gupta, Shrivani, Preet, then Preetam. Yeah, many of you have got 152. So let me explain this to you now, right? What's the logic? Here it goes, right? See, 10, 24, 45, 73, 108, 150. See, if you understand, as such, there is no technique that can give you the answer to number series questions. There is no formula, there is no direct method. It's all about trial and error. So you have to try with various things and find out which one works the best. I mean, which one works actually, not the best, but which one works in this particular case. Now here, one close observation will tell you that numbers are close to each other, not very distant from each other. So it looks like an addition based series. It's not related to multiplication, right? Should be something to do with additions. And if I try to actually find out the differences, the difference between 10 and 24 is 14, right? The difference between 24 and 45 is 21. The difference between 45 and 73 is 28. That between 73 and 108 is 35. And the difference between 108 and 150 is 42. You understand? 10 plus 14, 24. 24 plus 21, 45. 45 plus 28, 73. 73 plus 35, 108. 108 plus 42, 150. So basically this is a simple arithmetic series. I mean, you just keep adding numbers, and numbers also have got a pattern. If you see, all these are multiples of 7. 7 into 2, 7 into 3, 7 into 4, 7 into 5, 7 into 6. He's asking what will come in place of E. What will come in place of E? Just add 14 to 12, you will get what is A. Then add 21 to that, you will get what is B. Then add 28 to B, you will get what is C. Then add 35 to C, you will get what is D. And add 40 to D, you will get what is E. But instead of finding out all the intermediate numbers A, B, C, D, E, you just forget about it. Directly try to find out E. How can you get that? Simply add E will be equal to 12 plus 14 plus 21 plus 28 plus 35 plus 40. So don't try to find out what is A, B, C, D values here. Directly get E. 10 plus 14 plus 21 plus 28 plus 35 plus 42 is 150. Like for example, 45. How do we get 45? 10 plus 14, 24 plus 21. 24 plus 21, 45. I don't have to worry about the intermediate number here. So just take the sum of these values and you'll get the answer. Right? 150 will be the answer. 150 will be the answer. Okay. Now, here again there is a technique that can be used, but limited to only these type of questions. Right? There's one more technique that you can apply here. Instead of doing all the calculation, like you can do this calculation, doesn't take much time. 12 plus 14, 26 plus 21, 47 plus 28 will be 75 plus 35 is 110, 110 plus 42, 152. Or the other way of doing this calculation easily is, if you observe, all these are multiples of 7, right? This is 7 into 2, 7 into 3, 7 into 4, 7 into 5 and 7 into 6. So if I take 7 common, what happens? There's like 2 plus 3, 5 plus 4, 9. 9 plus 5, 14, 14 plus 6, 20. 20 into 7. 20 into 7, 140. 140 plus 12, 152. Actually, you don't have to add all these values, right? 7 into 2, 7 into 3, 7 into 4, 7 into 5, 7 into 6. I'll take 7 common. So we'll have 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 is 20. 7 into 20, 140. 140 plus 12. You're getting it? It is going to be in this fashion. 4 plus 5 plus 6. So this is like 12 plus 7 into 20, which comes out to be 150. So this is a simpler way of doing the same calculation, a better way of doing the same calculation. And the other point that you all can observe is, since this is a simple addition based series, here the number started with 10. You kept on adding some values, 14, 21, 28, 35 and so on. You ended up at 150. This number is starting with 12, 2 extra, right? This is plus 2. So this will be plus 2. 150 will become 152. Remember, this again is possible because everything is just a simple addition. In between, if we have something more than addition, like instead of just adding 14, if we have plus 14 into 1, plus 21 into 2, plus 28 into 3, if that kind of a series is given, then this technique will not be applicable. So here again, like what we discussed in the previous question, right? You can use, you can do a smart work. What is that? This number is more than the first number by 2. This is plus 2, right? And all the operations are additions only. So since all the operations are addition, if original number is increased by 2, final number will also increase by 2. So 152 will be the answer. Suppose this is what comes in place of C. No need to do any calculation. 73 plus 2, 75 will be the value that comes in place of C. What comes in place of D? 108 plus 2, 110 will be the value. Okay. Let's take up the next one. Try this one now. Here's the next question. 3, 4, 9, 28, 113, 566. You have to find out what comes in place of C. Three, 4, 9, 28, 113, 566. Find out the logic behind that, apply the same logic to the next sequence and find out C. $34, huh? Yeah, that was quick. I'm glad that you guys are really quick in finding out the answer here. What is the logic? It's simple. 3 into 1 plus 1 equals to 4. 4 into 2 plus 1 is equal to 9. 9 into 3 plus 1 gives you 28. 9 into 3, 27 plus 1, 28. 28 into 4 plus 1 gives you 113. 113 into 5 plus 1. Now see, this time the operation is what? It's not one operation. There are two operations. There is a multiplication, then there is addition. Multiplication, addition, multiplication, addition. Always adding 1, but increasing the multiplicand by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So in this case, you can't directly find out what is C, what is D, what is E based on the previous number. You actually have to do the whole process, right? So what will be A? 4 into 1 plus 1. 4 into 1 plus 1 is 5. So A will be equal to 5. Then 5 into 2 plus 1. 5 into 2 to 10. 10 plus 1, 11. So B will be equal to 11. 11 into 3 plus 1. 11 into 3, 33 plus 1, 34. So C will be equal to 34. And that's your answer. You're getting it? You just have to follow the same process. Whatever you've seen in the previous series, apply the same in the next sequence to get the answer. Here, there's no shortcut. Like 28, you cannot do anything to get the value directly, right? Take up the next one. Okay, I think we are done with the questions on number series. 3 questions here. So, good. Now, one important point before we move to the next question that I would like to mention here is that number series is the only topic in quantitative aptitude where I would say don't take a risk. Meaning, there is no method, there is no definite method, there is no shortcut, there is no technique, there is no formula. Everything is based on trial and error. You may or may not get the answer. It all depends, right? I mean, sometimes I mean, even if you have not practiced any question on number series, in the exam you may get 515, right? On the other hand, sometimes what happens, you must have practiced thousands of questions during your preparation, but in the exam you will not be able to solve any question at all. So it all depends on the logic basically, and logic, you know, is not in our hands, right? I mean, it could be any logic that has been used there. So my advice to all of you would be, give it a try, definitely give it a try, but don't waste your time in solving questions on number series. If you are unable to crack it in the first 25-30 seconds, you better skip it and just go to the next one. All right, so I think that's the only thing that you have to keep in mind when you are working on questions of number series, whether it is these type of questions or missing numbers or wrong numbers, anything, just follow the point that you don't have to waste your time. Now let me present the next set of questions to you all. I'll have to just get it ready, just give me a minute. Yeah, so just give me a second. Let me pull up the next question from the data here. Okay, so let's move on to kind of data sufficiency, and here we go. See what is given here. In the following 5 questions, or whatever number of questions we have, each question has a conclusion followed by 2 statements marked 1 and 2, which provide certain information, right? Choose your answer as option 1 if statement 1 alone is needed to draw the conclusion. Choose your answer as option 2 if statement 2 alone is needed to draw the conclusion. And similarly option 3, 4 and 5, whatever the case be. So basically he says in each of the question here we have got a conclusion followed by 2 statements. So there's a conclusion, like for example here you see that the motorcycle is 1% cheaper now is a conclusion. This conclusion is followed by 2 statements, statement 1 and statement 2. So we have to find out which of these statements is enough for us to jump to this conclusion. So this is a different type of data sufficiency, right? Let me remind you, data sufficiency usually has a question followed by 2 statements, and we have to find out which statement will be enough to get the answer to that question. But this time, instead of giving the question, we have a conclusion, right? Like for example, the profit of article A is 90 rupees. He's not asking you what is the profit of article A. He says the profit of article A is 90. All you have to do is check the statements and find out which statements is giving you the answer as 90. As simple as that. So this is the same as data sufficiency, it's just that the format has been changed a little bit. The way the question has been asked is changed a little bit. Instead of question, we have a conclusion. So let me share the screen again and give you about 30 seconds to try the first one. Okay, answers have come in. 1 or 2 is what most of you have marked, but then Neeraj says only 1 is enough. Rohit Dubey says it should be option 2. Pooja Pandey says individually both the statements are sufficient. Yeah. So option 5 is what she has marked. Neeraj has got only 1. Neeraj says only 1 is sufficient. So let's take it up. I think a simple question. We don't have to break our heads too much on getting the answer here. And by the way, let me draw your attention to this. This was asked in the IBPS Clerk's main mock exam number 9 conducted by TalentSprint. Okay, picked up from that particular paper. So what do you have to do? One conclusion is given followed by 2 statements. Find out which of these statements are enough to arrive at that conclusion, to draw that conclusion. So what's the conclusion now? The motorcycle is 1% cheaper now. The conclusion is, the result is the motorcycle is 1% cheaper now. It has become cheaper now. By how much? By 1%. So let's find out which statement will give us this conclusion. Now, first statement, the rise in the price of motorcycle was 10% and then the reduction in its price was 10%. So he says basically first there was a rise in the price by 10% and then there was a reduction in the price by 10%. So by doing this, the price became 1% less. It became 1% cheaper or not is what we have to find out. Yes, it becomes 1% cheaper. 1 is enough. I mean, 1 alone definitely is enough to draw this conclusion, right? I don't have to do any paperwork to understand this. But anyway, let me explain this to you. What happens? See, let's assume the price is 100. I'm working on first statement, right? Let's assume the price is 100. Original price is 100. It was reduced, the rise was 10%. It was increased by 10%. There was an increment of 10%. So 100 will become 110. And then there was a decrement of 10%. Then there was a discount, reduction, 10%. So 110 minus 10%. What is 10% of 110? 11. So 110 minus 11 is 99. So what do you see? What was 100 initially has now become 99. It has reduced by how much? By 1%. Yes or no? It has reduced by 1%, right? 100 has become 99. Yes or no? So yes, the rise of price by 10% and then reduction by 10% will result in a 1% reduction, overall 1% reduction. So 1 alone is enough, but that does not mean that you will mark option 1 as the answer. Don't be in a hurry. This could lead to negative marking. Remember, both in data sufficiency as well as this type of question, never mark your answer unless you have verified both the statements. Okay. So let's look at the second statement now. The motorcycle priced at 35,000 was offered to be sold at a price of 10% more than the original price, and then a discount of 10% was offered on the increased price. In fact, if you see, second statement is technically same as the first statement, right? There is no difference. The only difference is here he has also given the price. In the first statement, the price was not mentioned, only percentages were given. But here he has also given us the initial price. 35,000 is the price, original price. The price was increased by 10%, and then a discount of 10% was offered. So same thing, right? Instead of 100, we'll have 35,000. What is the difference? 35,000, first increase by 10%, you will get some value. Then decrease that value by 10%, you will get some other value. Obviously, since the percentages are same, overall result will also be same. It will reduce by 1%. Numerically, it may differ. Instead of 100, we have 35,000. So it will be 350. 1% reduction will reduce by 350. Final price will be 34,650. Right? And this will be 38,500. I mean, we don't have to do this calculation, but then the idea is, you know, it reduces by how much? By 1% again. It reduces by 1%. So statement 2 also is enough to draw this conclusion. So individually 1 gives the answer and also 2 gives you the answer. That is the reason you see 1 becomes wrong. Option 1 becomes wrong. Don't be in a hurry. Read both the statements. Answer is option 5. Either statement 1 or statement 2 is needed to draw the conclusion. And believe me, there's no need of any paperwork to arrive at this answer, right? You must be smart enough to understand that answer is option 5, right? You just have to do some mental calculation. Let's move to the next one. Here's the next question. Try this out. Nikhil Vinod has asked a question here. Nikhil says, in these type of questions, should we really need to get the conclusion, or whether we should consider the scope of getting the conclusion like in data sufficiency? You should actually get the same conclusion. Like in the previous question, he said it is 1% cheaper, right? You should find out that, only if you find out that it is getting 1% cheaper, then you can consider that statement to be, you know, enough. Okay, so Grishma and Soumya have marked the answer as both. Both 1 and 2 are required, which means option 3. It will be better if you guys tell me the option number instead of saying both or 1 or 2 or either 1 or 2 and so on, right? Vandana has got option 5. Vandana says either 1 or 2 is needed to draw the conclusion. Kirti Kiran has also got both. Okay. Amol Ghodke has got option 3. He says if both 1 and 2 are needed to draw the conclusion. Yes, he has also got both. Abhay has got option 1. Bhanu Prakash has got 3. Preet, Kirti Kiran, Grishma, Soumya, Shivani, all these guys have got 3. Arpita Majumdar has got 3. Rohit Dubey has got 3. Mayur has got 4. Satish has got both, which is 3. And so has Anubhav Singh. Neeru has got 1. Alright, so I think net most of you have marked the answer as option 3, right? Both 1 and 2 are needed to draw the conclusion. So let's take it up. Here we go. The question says the weight of Nagarjuna is not the question, basically the conclusion. The conclusion here is that the weight of Nagarjuna is less than the combined weight of Aftab Ali and John Abraham, right? John Abraham, I think spelling error here, apologies for that, but yeah, weight of Nagarjuna is less than the combined weight of Aftab Ali and John Abraham. So basically the conclusion says that N is less than A plus J. N is less than A plus J. That's the conclusion. N is less than A plus J. We have to find out which statement is enough to get this answer. Get this conclusion. Statement 1. The weight of Aftab is 1/3 the weight of Nagarjuna, and the weight of Nagarjuna and the weight of John is 5 times the weight of Nagarjuna. So let's use this data now. Statement 1. The weight of Aftab, I am using statement 1, right? Weight of Aftab is 1/3 the weight of Nagarjuna. A equals to 1/3 N. And next statement. The weight of Nagarjuna and the weight of John. Nagarjuna and the weight of John is, which means equal to 5 times the weight of Nagarjuna. 5 times the weight of Nagarjuna. So there are two equations given in statement 1. Aftab is 1/3 of Nagarjuna and Nagarjuna plus John is 5 times Nagarjuna. Now, if Nagarjuna plus John is 5 times Nagarjuna, can we not say John is equal to 4 times Nagarjuna? 5n minus n is 4n. Now, try and understand, guys. We know that A is equal to 1/3 of n. We know J is equal to 4n. Try to substitute in this conclusion given there. He says n will be less than A plus J. What is A plus J? From this, find out what is A plus J. A plus J will come out to be n by 3 plus 4n. What is n by 3 plus 4n? It will be 13n by 3. Or n by 3 plus 4n also can be taken. So I know that the combined weight of Aftab and John is 13n by 3. Obviously, n is less than 13n by 3. Yes or no? This is Nagarjuna's weight. This is the combined weight of Aftab and John. N is less than 13n by 3, right? 3n is less than 13n. So n is less than 13n by 3. So I can say that 1 alone is enough for drawing this conclusion. The conclusion was Nagarjuna's weight is less than the combined weight of Aftab and John. In fact, you don't have to do all this drama. You know that John's weight itself is 4 times Nagarjuna's weight, right? So obviously Nagarjuna's weight will be less than the combined weight. John itself is 4 times Nagarjuna. Whatever be the weight of Aftab, even if Aftab is 1 gram weighing 1 gram, let's assume Aftab is 1 gram or 1 microgram. Even then, Nagarjuna is less than 4 times Nagarjuna, right? John is 4 times Nagarjuna. So 1 alone is enough. 1 alone is enough for me to draw this conclusion, right? However, I will not mark the answer as option 1. I will check statement 2 also. Don't mark option 1 as the answer immediately. Check statement 2. What is statement 2? Statement 1 is over. What is statement 2? Statement 2 tells us that Aftab's weight is 10 kg. So what? What should I do of this? Understand, when you are looking at statement 2, forget about everything that is given in statement 1. It's very, very important. Whenever you are solving questions from data sufficiency, you should always keep in mind that when you are checking a particular statement, forget about the data given in the other statements. So all you know now is that the conclusion says n should be less than A plus J and the data says Aftab is 10 kg. What should I do with this? Okay, Aftab is 10 kg. So what? Can you conclude that Nagarjuna is less than Aftab plus John? No, we have no other clue, right? We have no other piece of information. So just because Aftab is 10 kg, I cannot conclude Nagarjuna is less than Aftab plus John. So 2 alone is not sufficient. Hence, the answer is option 1. Statement 1 alone is needed to draw the conclusion. Which means most of you have gone wrong. What did you mark? Option 3. Which is both 1 and 2 are needed to draw the conclusion. Why? I know what you guys have done. You have found Aftab's weight from statement 2, substituted that in statement 1. You have got John's weight from that. Then you have verified if Nagarjuna and Nagarjuna's weight also. And then you have verified whether Nagarjuna's weight is less than Aftab's weight and John's weight put together or not. Why do you have to do all that? Equation itself is telling you, right? Nagarjuna is less than 13n by n. N is less than 13n by 3. On one side you have n. The other side you have 13n by 3. Can you not just compare and tell which is less and which is more? Do we need to know the value of n? No. What's the conclusion? Conclusion not in this question. What is the overall conclusion? Don't be in a hurry, right? This is why we flunk. This is why we fail in these exams. You know, most of you are trying to worry about, you are worried about those complex questions. कि सर puzzle कैसे करना है, ये circular arrangement कैसे करना है, shortcut बताइए. Forget about those complex things, right? These simple mistakes that we commit, like what you have done here, cost you your exam, cost you your opportunity. How many marks did you lose? You did not lose 0.25 marks. You have lost 1.25 marks. You have lost 1.25 marks. You could have easily converted this to +1. You made it minus 0.25. So 1 mark loss that way, 0.25 marks penalty, 1.25 marks loss. And let me tell you, this question can be answered in about 20 seconds maximum, not more than that. 20 seconds enough to get 1 mark. What did you do? Minus 1.25. So the point, guys, is be very careful, right? I mean, while speed is important, it doesn't mean that you compromise with accuracy, right? Speed is really very important, but without any compromise on accuracy there, right? And this reminds me of that, Hindi line in Hindi that I usually make in our live sessions, right? I'm sure those who have been attending our TalentSprint live sessions know about this, right? I've used this multiple times. Let me just remind you guys about this one, and keep this in mind. All of those who understand Hindi will follow this. There's one beautiful line which says, "Insan ठोकर पत्थर से खाता है, पहाड़ों से नहीं." That's what has happened. The true translation of this in English would be that you actually stumble upon stones and pebbles, not stumble upon mountains. That's what has happened. Simple question, you've gone wrong. So be careful and don't commit such silly mistakes in your examination. Let me present the next question to you all, and I think now we'll move to something on a different question type. This again is a very popular question in the recent exams, where two quantities are given. Not in terms of numerals, but in terms of some statement, right? He's talking about a equation. He's given you a situation which will give you a numerical value if you try to work on that situation. So two such situations are given to you, both of which will result in a quantity. One is called quantity 1, the other is called quantity 2. You have to solve both the situations, you have to solve both the questions basically, find out what are the two quantities, compare, and then decide what is the correct answer option. Options are like 1 is less than 2, 1 is less than or equal to 2, 1 is more than 2, and so on. So let me present this set of questions to you all. If you're all very clear with whatever we have done just now, statements and conclusions, I want all of you to understand that you committed a blunder in the previous question by marking the answer as both 1 and 2 are required. Answer was only 1 is enough, right? Should I go for the next one? Divya says it was easy but confusing. How to get it right in the exam pressure? I think, Divya, that's what decides your fate, right? If there is no pressure, all of us can solve all these questions, right? All of us will get 100 on 100. The point is doing it under pressure, right? Yeah. So that's what is the test, if you can work under pressure or not. Right, I have got a lot of confirmations from many students here. Kishan, Vidya Rajan, Naveen, Gaurav Sharma, Varshini, Divya, Pooja, Neeru, and others there, Amul and others there. So let me move to the next set of questions which are on comparison of quantities. The first question of this set is on your screens now. So in each of the following questions, read the given statements and compare the two given quantities on its basis. I'm sure all of you have started working on this. You have less than a minute. The clock is ticking. Got the answer? Waiting for your responses. Quick. I don't see any response as yet. This is a simple question. You just have to work on quantity 1, quantity 2 and drive the comparison. Got it? Not getting. Okay, Amul says he's not getting it. How about others? Chalo, time is up. I think you guys should now mention if you have got it or not. You can't be trying it forever, right? Like I said, you have very limited time in the exam. So, what's the answer? Karthik has got option 1, Neeraj has got option 4, and so has Shubham Gupta. He's also got option 4. Neeru says it's option 5. Ashish, Naveen have got option 4. Karthik has now changed the answer to option 3. So much of confusion, huh? Option 1, option 3, option 4. Why? Option 1 says quantity 1 is less than or equal to quantity 2. Option 3 says quantity 1 is greater than quantity 2. Option 4 says quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. I think time is up. All others should stop solving it now because you can't be taking so much time in the exam. Let me give you the solution to this one. Here we go. So quantity 1, see, simple. He says in each of the following questions, read the given statements and compare the two given quantities. So these are the two quantities, 1 and 2, quantity 1 and quantity 2. So quantity 1, the simple interest obtained on 4,500 after 3 years is 1350. In the same time, at the same rate and on the same amount, the compound interest. So the quantity 1 is going to be the compound interest in the same time, at the same rate, on the same amount. He is given as a simple interest case. He is asking you to find out the compound interest. Simple interest obtained on 4,500. This is principal. After 3 years, this is time period, is 1350. This is SI. What do we have to find out? We have to first work on R. R is equal to what? First calculate R. Then, in the same time, at the same rate, whatever R you get, and on the same amount, the P that is given here, what will be the compound? This is going to be the quantity 1. Now, those who all work using formula and conventional method, you should better skip this question because it is going to take a lot of time if you don't know how to do smart calculations and how to solve questions on CI smartly, compound interest smartly. Others who know the technique should definitely give it a shot. It's very simple. See, 4,500 and 1350. If I observe SI here, SI which is 1350 is actually 30% of 4,500. It's a simple calculation. You don't have to do any rocket science here, right? 10% of 4,500 is 450. 450 into 3 is 1350, which means the simple interest is 30% for 3 years. Yes or no? Time period is 3 years. If simple interest is 30% for 3 years, I can conclude that the rate is 10% per annum. Remember, without writing anything on paper, I am writing these steps so that you can follow. This is not required to be put on paper. All this is mental work. You should be able to jump to the conclusion that rate is 10% per annum. The rate is 10% per annum. You're getting it? 1350, 450 into 3. So 30%. 30% means what? 3 years, 30%. So per year, 10%. So now you know the rate as well. It is going to be 10%. Now on this rate and this time and this principle, what will be the compound interest? How do you calculate compound interest? We have got 10% in first year, 10% in second year, 10% in third year. If you want to use the formula of compound interest, P into 1 plus R by 100, you know, P into 1 plus R by 100 whole to the power of T minus 1 P common, you are better off skipping this question. Because smart people don't use the formula. They use what is called the effective percentage technique that we have discussed in our videos. 10% for first year, 10% for second year, 10% for third year. What do? Find out the CI for first 2 years. A plus B plus AB by 100. So 10 plus 10 plus 10 into 10 by 100. 10 plus 10 is 20. 10 into 10 by 100 is 1. 20 plus 1, 21%. So for the first 2 years, the CI is 21%. Now with this 21% and the third year's 10%, again find out the new CI. What do? A plus B plus AB by 100. So 21 plus 10 plus 21 into 10 by 100. A plus B plus AB by 100 is the effective percentage formula that is used for CI. So the compound interest is going to be this much percentage. What is this? 21 plus 10, 31. and this is 2.1. 31 plus 2.1, 33.1 percentage. So the point is CI, compound interest, is going to be 33.1 percentage of what? Of the principal amount. Interest is always calculated on the principal amount. So 33.1 percentage of 4,500. Understand, 33.1 percentage is like 1/3, approximately 1/3. I can take it as 1/3. 33.1 is less than 33.33, slightly less than 33.33. 33.33 is 1/3, right? So this is like 1/3, almost 1/3. So it's going to be 1500, roughly around 1500. You don't have to do precise calculation. If you guys are struggling with the calculation, my question to you is, who asked you to do the full calculation? Who asked you to do the complete calculation? Suppose quantity 2 comes out to be a bigger value, which is not in the range of 1500, then directly you get a comparison, right? So in about 30 seconds, you would know that quantity 1 is around 1500, approximately around 1500. Now work on quantity 2. Remember, all this paperwork is not required. You can cut it down. So this was quantity 1 calculation. Now let's do a quantity 2 calculation. What is the quantity 2 calculation here? Some amount out of 9,000 was lent at 8% per annum and the remaining at 5% per annum simple interest. In 4 years, the interest earned was 2370. The sum which is lent at 8% per annum is what? The sum which is lent at 8% per annum is equal to what? How do you solve this? Remember, he says there's some amount out of 9,000 which was lent at 8%. The other amount, the remaining amount, was lent at 5%. Let's assume P1 plus P2 equals to 9,000. Principal 1 plus principal 2 is 9,000. Principal 1 was lent at 8% per annum. Principal 2 was lent at 5% per annum. Simple interest calculation. The advantage is it is a simple interest calculation. For how many years? For 4 years. The interest earned is 2370. Now it is actually this. If you give 8% per annum, in 4 years how much do you get? 32%. 32% of P1. Let's assume P1 was given at 8% per annum. So how much interest will I make? 32% of P1. Similarly, P2 was given at what rate? 5% per annum. In 4 years, how much will you make? 20%. 20% of P2. The question says 32% of P1 plus 20% of P2 is equal to 2370. The sum which is lent at 8% per annum is quantity 2, which means P2. Sorry, P1. 8% per annum is P1. P1 is equal to what is the question? Quantity 2 is nothing but P1. P1 plus P2 is 9,000. 32% of P1 plus 20% of P2 is 2,370. Solve for P1. 2 equations and 2. You can also use alligation method. Those who all have gone through our videos would know that this question can also be solved using the technique of alligations and mixtures. Now you might be wondering, how is alligations and mixtures anywhere relevant to what is discussed here? What is being discussed here, right? This is simple and compound interest. But then alligations can be used. The principle of alligation can be applied here as well. Let me not get into that. You can refer to the videos to learn that. Let me just solve this for you. P1 plus P2 is 9,000. 32% of P1 plus 20% of P2 is 2370. Now, since we are interested in finding out P1, I can say P2 is 9,000 minus P1. So I'll substitute P2 as 9,000 minus P1 here. So what do we get? 32% of P1 plus 20% of, remember what is P2? 9,000 minus P1 equals to 2370. Solve now. See, 32% of P1 and this is minus 20% of P1. 20 into minus P1 is minus 20%. So 32% minus 20% is 12%. 12% of P1 plus this is 20% of 9,000. What is 20% of 9,000? 1800 is equal to 2370. So what I find out is that 12% of P1 is 2370 minus 1800, 570. Here itself I know that quantity 2 which is equal to P1 will be more than P2. Why? See, 12% is how much? 12% is 570, which means 24% is how much? 1140, which means 36% is how much? 1710. You understand? If I take 3 times on both the sides, into 3 into 3, 36% of P1 is 570 into 3, which is 1710. 36% of P1 itself is 1510, which means P1 will be more than 1500, much more than 1500. I just want that comparison because I already know that quantity 1 is around 1500. You understand? Never do the complete calculation. I know that Q1 is in the range of 1500. That's what I told you, right? Don't do complete calculation. Q1 is in the range of 1500. From this, I can understand that Q2, which is nothing but P1 here, is going to be much more than 1500 because 12% itself is 570. 60%, multiply both the sides by 6. 60% will be how much? 60% will be 3420. If 60% is 3420, 100% of P1 will be much more than that. Which means here itself I can say that P1, is greater than, not P2, is greater than Q2, Q1 I meant. Is greater than Q1. This is greater than Q1. Q2 is greater than Q1. Yes or no? Q1 is 1500. This is going to be much more than 1500. So I can say that quantity 1 is less than quantity 2, or quantity 2 is more than quantity 1, which is option 4. Are you able to follow? Q2 is more than Q1. Q2 is more than Q1, and hence option 4 is the answer. Now, my advice to all those who think that this is a lengthy question, it's going to take a lot of time in the exam, is that you guys have to work on your calculation ability. You cannot skip such questions in the exam. Let me tell you, this will not take more than 1 minute for you to get the answer. I'm referring to one comment here from Pooja Pandey which says it will take a lot of time, it's better to skip it in the exam. No, you should not skip this in the exam. You should not skip this in the exam. You cannot skip this in the exam. It's a very simple one. Okay. On this side we have some students who have asked, can you please say what value to take as the middle value if you're solving using allegation rule? Okay, so let me tell you what has to come in the middle if you're solving using allegation rule. Well, you have to find out 2370 is what percentage of 9000. Arun Kumar, I mean the fact that you have asked me a question on allegation, I'm assuming you know the basic concept already. You know that the first value will be 8%. 8% as in, don't take 8%, 8% into 4. The first one will give us 32%. In place of that second value that we take in allegation, take 5% into 4, 20%. The middle value is 2370, but you cannot take 2370. See, middle value is what? Always the mixture value. Whatever you put in the middle, Arun, is the mixture value, right? Mixture related value. The only mixture related value that we know here is 2370. But 2370 cannot be used because the other two values are in percentages, 32% and 20%. So what do? Convert 2370 to percentage. How do you convert that to percentage? 2370 is how much percentage of 9000? Because the total base is 9000, right? So 2370 is what percentage of 9000? Find that out. That percentage you put there, and then take the cross differences to get the ratio. Once you get the ratio, you can find out P1 and P2 based on that ratio there. Okay? I hope all of you have understood. Neeru says 32% and 20%. How did you get that? Neeru, 8% per annum for 4 years is 32%. See, he says the time period is 4 years in the quantity 2, right? 8% for 4 years is 32%. 5% for 4 years is 20%. Why are you guys so confused about this one? Okay. Anyway, let me just move to the next one. You guys can watch this video again and I'm sure you'll be able to follow. Let me present the next question to you all. So similar format, quantity 1 and quantity 2. This time the concept of probability has been used in both the quantities. So find out the probabilities and compare to mark the answer. You have 1 minute as usual. Got it? Option 3. Soumya has marked option 3, which is quantity 1 greater than quantity 2. Sonia Devi says it cannot be determined. And Sandeep Tripathi has got option C, which is quantity 1 greater than quantity 2. Neeraj and Grishma have also got option 3. Srivani has got option 3. Good. So I think at least there's some consistency. Most of you have got option 3 as the answer, except Sonia Devi, who got cannot be determined actually. Which means no relation. If you're saying cannot be determined, means there's no relation according to you. But how can it be? Both are very clear probability based questions. How can you say there is no relation? Amol, Prince Kumar, Pooja, Anand, Preet, Ashish, Priyanka, Divya, all these guys have got option 3. Pooja Pandey has got option 5 and Nikhil Vinod has got option 4. So some surprises here. Like some of you have got 4 and 5 as well. Let's try it out. So here we go. Quantity 1. What is quantity 1? A box contains 6 fizz bottles, 8 Pepsi bottles and 3 fruity bottles. 3 bottles are drawn at random. The probability that all 3 are of different varieties. Quantity 1. Let's work on this. All the 3 have to be of different varieties. What are the different varieties we have got? Fizz, Pepsi and fruity. We are drawing 3 bottles. All the 3 have to be of different varieties, which means out of 6 fizz bottles I should choose one, 6C1. Out of 8 Pepsi bottles I should choose one, 8C1. And out of 3 fruity bottles I should choose one, 3C1. You're getting it? 3 types of bottles are there. I should choose one from each one of them. So 6C1 into 8C1 into 3C1. Remember, principle of multiplication. If one action can be done in m ways, the other action can be done in n ways, then both together can be done in m into n ways. So 1 fizz bottle, 1 Pepsi bottle, 1 fruity bottle. These are the number of ways possible. Divided by total number of ways. Remember, this is probability, not the number of, it's not permutation, it's probability. Probability is what? The number of favorable ways divided by total number of ways. So what is the total number of ways of choosing 3 bottles from the given set of bottles? Total how many bottles do we have? 6 plus 8, 14 plus 3, 17. 6 plus 8, 14, 14 plus 3, 17. Out of 17 bottles, in how many ways can you choose 3 bottles? 17C, 3 ways. Simplify, you'll get the answer. You getting it? This is what is quantity 1. What is quantity 2? Quantity 2. Work on quantity 2. A box contains 3 white, 4 red and 2 blue erasers. If 3 erasers are drawn at random, then the probability that 2 erasers are red. Now this time what happens? You are drawing 3 erasers again, but you want 2 of them to be red. Total how many red do we have? 4 red. Out of 4 choose 2, 4C2 into, understand, 3 were drawn. Out of 3, here out of 3, 2 are supposed to be red. 1 can be of any other color. Any other color. What are the other colors? You have got 3 white and 2 blue. 3 plus 2, 5. Out of these 5, I can choose any one. You're getting it? Out of 4 red, choose 2 red. Out of the remaining 5, you can choose any one. 3 plus 2, 5, you can choose any one. 5C1. Divided by total. Total how many erasers do we have? 5. 3 plus 4, 7. 7 plus 2, 9. Out of 9, you have to choose 3. These 2 values have to be compared. You're getting it? Now compare these two. Solve for these two first of all. Right? I'm hoping that all of you have understood the reasoning behind this combinations that we have taken up. Right? 4C2 into 5C1 divided by 9C3. Solve now. So this is like 6C1 is 6, 8C1 is 8 and 3C1 is 3, 17C3, let's evaluate. So basically 6 into 8 into 3 divided by 17C3, 17 into 16 into 15 divided by 3 into 2. So that 3 into 2 will come in the numerator. Right? So 6 into 8 is 48, 16 goes 3 times in 48. You understand? 6 into 8, 48, 48 by 16 is 3. 3 goes 5 times. So I think finally we will have what? 3 into 3, 9, 9 into 2, 18. 18 by 17 into 5. 18 by 17 into 5. Or if I have to, do an approximate calculation, 18 and 17 gets cancelled. I can say approximately 1 by 5. Approximately 1 by 5. Approximately 1 by 5. Slightly more than 1 by 5 actually. 18 and 17 will get cancelled, right? Almost gets cancelled. So 1 by 5. Quantity 2, what happens in quantity 2? 4C2. 4 into 3 divided by 2 into 1 into 5C1. You understand? 4C2 is 4 into 3 by 2 into 1. 5C1 is 5. 9C3. 9 into 8 into 7. divided by 3 into 2, which goes in the numerator. You're getting it? So 4C2, 4 into 3 by 2 into 1, 5C1, 5, 9C3, 9 into 8 into 7 by 3 into 2 into 1. Now do the calculation. 3 into 3 and 9 gets cancelled. 2 and 2 gets cancelled. 4 here goes 2 times. So we have 5 by 14. 5 in the numerator divided by 2 into 7, 14. 5 by 14. 5 by 14 is approximately 1 by 3, right? Roughly 1 by 3. 5 by 14, roughly 1 by 3. Approximate calculation. Very close to 1 by 3. Which is more? This is 1 by 5. This is 1 by 3. So can I not say quantity 1 is less than quantity 2? 1 by 5 is approximately 20%. 1 by 3 is 33.33%. So quantity 1 is less than quantity 2. That's the conclusion. Don't have to do precise calculation. Q1 less than Q2. Option 4 is the final answer. Quantity 1 less than quantity 2. Option 4 is going to be the final answer. Okay, Sonia Devi has asked a question that explain how did we get 5C1. See, Sonia, in quantity 2 here, he says we are drawing 3 erasers, of which 2 should be red. Fine, 2 will be red. We will take care of that. Out of 4 red erasers, we will choose 2. What should be the other one? If there is no condition given, it means the other one can be of any other color. It should not be red. Only 2 have to be red. You're getting it? Kiran has also asked the same question. How did we get 5C1? Guys, the point is, there are 3 erasers that we are choosing. He says 2 have to be red. Very clearly 2 have to be red. So out of the total 4 erasers that we have in the stock, we will choose 2 out of that. But then the total number of erasers that we are actually choosing is 3. So if 2 are red, the third one has to be of which color? It can be either blue or white. It can be blue or white. There are 3 blue and 2 white. So out of 3 plus 2, 5 remaining erasers, I'll choose any one. 5C1. Anand Kumar says, how did you write 1 by 3? Anand, 5 by 14 is like, if you take denominator 14 as approximately 15. Anand, I think this is a very simple case. You must not get confused in that part of the solution, right? But anyway, 5 by 14, 14 is approximately 15, right? 14 is approximately 15. 5 by 14 is 5 by 15, 1 by 3. Sonal J has asked a question. Sir, वहां पे पॉसिबिलिटी हो सकती है ना? किस चीज की पॉसिबिलिटी? किसकी बात कर रही हो? थोड़ा विस्तार में बताना पड़ेगा आपको. ऐसे वहां पे, कहां पे? वहां पे पॉसिबिलिटी हो सकती है ना? कहां पर पॉसिबिलिटी की बात? दोनों पॉसिबिलिटी है. प्रोबेबिलिटी का मतलब क्या है? पॉसिबिलिटी. प्रोबेबिलिटी इज नथिंग बट पॉसिबिलिटी. या Preet says mistake in the last step. You cannot be committing such simple mistake, let me tell you. That is why we are failing to score more in the exam, right? It's not some high level funda or some rocket science that you have to learn to crack these exams. Avoid silly mistakes, right? The same point again. इंसान ठोकर पत्थर से खाता है, पहाड़ से नहीं. यही हो रहा है बस. Everybody is facing the same problem, right? Pavani says I overlooked 5 in the denominator. How can you overlook that 5 in the denominator? You have to be cautious. It can cost you your career, man. Overlooked 5, committed some silly mistake. All these are stupid reasons. Neeraj also says this time I missed 5 in the quantity, so I got it wrong. You can't go and tell this to examiner, right? I missed 5, so please consider. Otherwise, I was correct. For him, it's very clear. Either you have got it right or you have got it wrong. Should we go for the next one? Okay, let me present the next question to you all, right? Let's take something on data sufficiency. We have already done one type of data sufficiency where you have to, where a conclusion was given and we are supposed to check if the statements are sufficient or not to draw the conclusion. The other data sufficiency, the regular data sufficiency is where question is given and you have to find out which statements will give you the answer to the question. Okay, so let me, again the voice is breaking. All right, don't worry, I'll present the question and get this voice issue fixed. Just try and solve this one, right? The first question from, not the first question from data sufficiency, but data sufficiency where question is given followed by two or three statements is on your screens now. Alright guys, really sorry about the inconvenience caused, but the video is back. There was some problem with the audio as mentioned by many of you, and I am hoping that it's been fixed now. If you're all able to see the live stream without any problem, please acknowledge so that we can continue with the session. I repeat, we are back with the live stream. And I hope that the audio trouble that we had, unfortunate trouble that we had, is fixed now. And if that is the case, I can start solving this question which was presented to you all. Yeah, it's fine now. All right. Anyways, sorry again, apologies from my end and the team TalentSprint for this inconvenience. Let me present the question again and discuss the solution with you all. Here we go. So this is from data sufficiency. It says, what is the area of the rectangular field? What is the area of the rectangular field? How is it different from what we have solved earlier? In the earlier questions, we were given a conclusion. It was a statement that was given to us. But this time a question has been given to us. What is the area of the rectangular field? With three statements, A, B, C. Our job is to find out which of these statements will be enough, will be sufficient for us to get the required answer, right? Get the answer. Now remember, two very important points. Let me come back to the video to explain these 2 points to you, right? Data sufficiency as such is a very simple topic. I mean, it's not a topic by itself. Data sufficiency is one way of asking questions from any topic, right? I mean, there can be questions on mensuration, there can be questions on time and work, time and distance, there can be questions on blood relations, there can be questions on coding and decoding. Any topic can be turned around in a data sufficiency question, right? The important point to be noted is never mark the answer unless you have read all the statements. We had seen this in one of the previous questions also, right? Most of the times, I mean, since we are in a hurry, it's natural tendency, right? I mean, we are in a hurry in the exam. You look at statement 1, you get the answer from statement 1. And in that hurry, you mark the answer as option 1. That statement 1 is sufficient. But what you did not pay attention to in this particular case is that statement 2 is also there, and that may also give you the answer. So point number 1, never mark the answer unless you have read all the statements. Whether there are 2, 3, 4 statements, read all the statements. Point number 2 is again a very important one. When you're looking at a particular statement, forget about the data given in other statements, right? When you're looking at statement 2, it happens again, a natural problem, right? When you're looking at statement 2, since you've already gone through statement 1, that data is there in your head and you feel like, okay, you know it. But then remember, whatever is given in statement 1 has to be forgotten when you're checking statement 2. Similarly, whatever is given in statement 2 has to be forgotten when you're checking statement 3. Right? That's very, very critical. And third important point, you have to go for combination of statements. See what happens in data sufficiency is after checking the individual statements, right? You have checked statement 1, then you have checked statement 2, then statement 3. After having checked the individual statements, at times you may have to go for combination of statements, like 1 and 2 together, or maybe 2 and 3 together, or let's say 1 and 3 together, or all 1, 2 and 3 together. So such combinations may have to be tested. But note that you have to go for combinations if and only if individually the statements have failed to give you the answer. Right? If the individual statements fail to give you the answer, if they're not sufficient, only then you go for combination. Otherwise, you should never go for combination. Like for example, statement 1 does not give you the answer. Statement 2 gives you the answer. Then there's no point in combining these two. Even if the combination gives you the answer, the real answer would be only 2 is sufficient, because that alone gives you the answer, right? Minimum requirement. That's a minimum requirement. I don't have to combine unnecessary data from statement 1. Okay. So keep all these things in mind when you're solving such questions. Let me take this up now. So here the question says, what is the area of the rectangular field? What is the area of the rectangular field? Now, an easy way to follow and solve such questions is understand what are the variables required. For me to find out the area of the rectangular field, I should know the length and the breadth of the rectangle. So basically the question says, what is the length and what is the breadth? Yes or no? If a statement gives me the length and the breadth both, if both length and breadth are known to us, then we can find out the area. So as such, it's not about area. As such, the question is not about area. The question is about where is the length and where is the breadth. Which statement is giving me the length and which statement is giving me the breadth. Okay, don't waste your time in solving the question and finding out the actual area. You are not going to get extra marks for that. Okay, don't find out the area and tell me that it is 55 or 248 or whatever. Okay, just tell me which statement is sufficient. Now look at statement A. The perimeter of the field is 240 meters. Perimeter of the field is 240 meters means what? This is an equation in terms of length and breadth, right? L plus B equals to 120. Will this give you the answer? No. One alone does not give you the answer. Why? Because it is one equation in two variables. L plus B is 120. But what is L and what is B is not known to us. So one alone does not give you the answer. Now go for two alone. The width is 10 meter less than the breadth. Width is 10 meter less than the breadth means what? B equals to L minus 10. B equals to L minus 10. Will this give you the answer? No. Again the same problem. There is one equation and two variables. One equation, two variables cannot be solved. So B alone does not give me the answer. Don't say that L plus B equals to 120 is there. I can solve the two equations. Why? Why should you not consider that? Because we have not gone for combinations yet. Still there are some statements which are left out. Okay, still there are some statements which are left out. Then go for the third statement. Now forget about what is given in A and B. Look at third statement. The ratio of the length to breadth is 13 is to 11. L is to B equals to 13 is to 11. Will this give you the answer? No. Again the same problem. There's only one equation. L by B equals to 13 by 11. One equation, two variables cannot be solved. So C also does not give you the answer. So 1 doesn't give you the answer, 2 doesn't give you the answer, 3 doesn't give you the answer. Individually, the statements are failed. And now we have to go for combination. And now we may look at various combinations. A and B, B and C, A and C, all A, B and C and so on. But then simple understanding, I have to find out two variables, L and B. These are the two variables. You know that for solving two variables, you need two equations. For finding out two unknown values, at least two equations have to be there in those two unknowns. I have got three such equations. L plus B is an equation in L and B. This is an equation in L and B. Third also is an equation in L and B. Can I use any two of these equations to solve L and B? Yes. I can use 1 with 2. I can use 2 with 3. I can use 1 with 3. And I'll get L and B. And once I get L and B, I'll be able to get the area. So the point is I can use any two of these statements. I don't have to use only 1 and 2 necessarily, or B and C necessarily, or A and C necessarily. I can use any two of the three statements. Option 5 is the answer. Some of you must have marked both A and B, both B and C. These are partially correct. Both A and B will give you the answer. Both B and C will give you the answer. But then A and B is also giving the answer. B and C is also giving the answer. A and C is also giving the answer. So these are partially correct. These are not fully correct. And only B to anyway doesn't give it. So the final answer is any two of these three statements can be used. Any two of these three statements can be used to solve the given question. I hope you are clear with the whole concept here. If yes, we can jump to the next question. Don't solve and waste your time. Don't solve these questions to waste your time. You guys are fighting about the length, whether it is 130 or 65. Why? We are not supposed to find out the right answer. All we have to check is, can we find out the right answer or not? Right? Remember, data sufficiency is about, can you solve the question? Not about solve the question and get the answer. So all those guys who are, all those of you who are fighting about 130 versus 65 versus 55, waste of your time. Should we go for the next one? I think we are running out of time. It's 3:25 already. I would like to take at least one data interpretation question. So let me present this one now. One more on data sufficiency, maybe two more on data sufficiency, and then we will take up DI, data interpretation. So here's the next question. Time and work. This time it's about time and work. Solve. Got it? Option 1 is what many of you have marked. All right, time is up. Let's take up the solution now. So here's the question. In how many days will the work be completed, right? Will the work be completed by Aryan and Ankush, right? In how many days the work be completed by Aryan and Ankush? Now, same process, check individual statements and then go for combinations. Statement 1, Aryan is twice as efficient as Ankush. So what? Just because I know that Aryan is twice as efficient as Ankush, I will not be able to solve this question. So statement 1 alone is not enough. Ankush can complete the work in 32 days. Okay, Ankush can complete in 32 days, but Aryan will complete in how many days? I don't know. Don't say Aryan will complete in 16 days. If you say Aryan will complete in 16 days, you are going wrong. Why are you going wrong? Because you are able to say that Aryan will be able to complete the work in 16 days based on the data given in statement A. But what did I tell you? Statement A has to be forgotten. So the question is, in how many days will the work be completed by Aryan and Ankush? Data says Ankush can complete the work in 32 days. So what? I don't know how much time will Aryan take. How will I solve it? Statement C, Aryan joins the work after 4 days of start of the work. Aryan joins the work after 4 days of the start of the work. So, in how many days will they complete? I don't know. So 1 alone, 2 alone, 3 alone, A alone, B alone, C alone doesn't give me the answer. So now I have to go for combination, and very clearly the combination of all three only will give you the answer. The combination of all three only will give you the answer. Remember, there is an important condition given in statement C. It cannot be neglected. Statement C tells us that Aryan joined the work after 4 days of start of the work, which means for the first 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, on these 4 days, only Ankush was working. And 5th, 6th, 7th day onwards, both Aryan and Ankush were working. This data is important for us to solve the question because Aryan was not there in the first 4 days. So statement 3 is required. Statement 2 is required because it tells me about the number of days required by Ankush. And statement A tells me about the efficiency of Aryan vis-a-vis efficiency of Ankush. Aryan is twice as efficient as Ankush. If Ankush does it in 32 days, then Aryan will be able to do it in 16 days because his efficiency is twice, number of days required will be half. So I need 3, I need 2, I also need 1. So all A, B, C are required. All A, B and C are required to get the answer. Option 2 will be the answer. Option 2 will be the answer. Some of you must have marked A and B. Both A and B will give you the answer. You will be incorrect because both A and B will give you the answer when Aryan and Ankush are working from day 1 till the last date. Day 1 till the last date, right? But statement C gives us an important piece of information that Aryan joined the work only after 4 days of the start of the work. So if this is not known, how will you solve it? If you don't consider it, you will get a wrong answer. Yeah. So option 2 is the answer. All A, B, C is the answer. All A, B, C is the answer. Without 3, yes, we can answer without 3. Pavni and I think Arun also had raised this concern. We can solve using A and B. That way, in the previous question also, we could solve using A and B, but we said any 2 of the 3 are required. Of course, that was also a different case, but here, the piece of information is important, right? I mean, he is given some piece of information in statement C which you are neglecting. He says that Aryan joins the work after 4 days of the start of the work. How can you neglect that? And how can you say it's extra information? It's not extra information, right? Unless you consider that, you will not get the right answer. If you use A and B, only, you will be able to find out how much time will these 2 guys together take to complete the whole work from day 1 till the last date. But are they working together from day 1 till the last day? No. Aryan joined 4 days later. Who will consider that? You have to consider that. Which means C also is required. Yeah. So Arun, when you say I assumed C as extra information, that's not the way it is, right? You have to consider C as well. What you get from A and B is the time required when both of them are working together from the start till the end. But the fact is that they are not working together from the start. Okay. Chalo, I think since we are running out of time, what I would do is take up one last question on data sufficiency, because we have some interviews planned from 4 o'clock onwards for those who have cleared the IBPS PO main examination. Yes, those who have cleared the IBPS PO main exam have one-on-one mock interviews starting from today. I mean, the real interviews are starting from 30th Jan, but TalentSprint has planned to conduct mock interviews for these guys, where we will have a panel of 3 experts doing the mock interview for them, and this will be like one real-time, not a real-time experience, yeah, but kind of real-time experience that you will have before you go for the real interview. So if you guys have also cleared the IBPS PO main examination and you have your interview lined up sometime next week, please let us know so that we can try and accommodate your slot as well. We are already running, we have already run out of slots. All the slots are booked by successful students. Slots are not available, but if you have more students, then we'll plan and do something about it, right? IBPS PO mock interviews starting today, starting at 4 o'clock actually. So one last question, I think I'll take up something on data sufficiency, data interpretation before we wind it up. Just a second. All right, I hope all of you are able to see the shared screen. Here's the question that we have from data interpretation for you all. Try this out. The data is presented to you. I'll show you the questions one after the other. First, understand the given data, right? The last question for the session today, data interpretation. So he says a person invests on 3 shares, share 1, S1, S2 and S3. The line graph shows the amount he earned from the shares over the years in thousands, right? The bar graph shows the profit or loss person earned by the person from different shares throughout the year. Okay, so interesting data. There is a line graph and then there is a bar graph. The line graph talks about the amounts earned from these shares, and the bar graph talks about the profit or loss that he has made from these shares over the years. So three types of shares: S1, S2, S3, 3 years, 2015, 16, 17, and a lot of data. So play with this data for some time. I'll leave you alone with this data for about 1 minute, at least 1 minute. I want all of you to observe the given data, observe and understand what all can be calculated from this. Only after that we will look at the questions. There are 4 or 5 questions. We will solve all of those questions, but first understand the data. Got it? If you've all understood the data, let me just know about it so that we can take up the questions. Understood? Yeah, I think many of you have confirmed that you have understood the data. So let me quickly explain this to you and then present the first question. So if you see, the directions given here says that a person invests on 3 shares, S1, S2 and S3. The line graph shows the amount he earned from the shares over the years in thousands. So this is the line graph that he's talking about, right? So amount earned in thousands. Remember, important points: amount earned in thousands. All these are amounts earned in thousands. Then the bar graph shows profit or loss percentage. Line graph talks about the amount, bar graph talks about the profit or loss percentage made by the person, earned by the person from different shares throughout the year. So S1, S2, S3. So if I look at it, the amount that he earned from shares S1 in the year 2015 is 35,000, right? 35,000, 70,000, 85,000. Similarly, amount earned from shares S2 in the year 2016, 65,000. You see, this green bar is for 2016. In 2017, 90,000. 2015, 40,000, and similarly for S3 as well, right? Values have already been given to you. Now, what is the bar graph here? Bar graph is here about the profit or loss percentage earned by the person. So if you look at share 1, see, yellow is 2015, green is 2016, orange is 2017. So share 1 in the year 2015, he made a profit of 20%. See, there's a positive y-axis and a negative y-axis, right? So positive y-axis implies profit, negative y-axis implies loss. So he made a profit of 20%, right? This indicates profit. Negative y-axis indicates loss. So on shares S1, he made 20% profit in 2015. On the same shares S1, he made 15% loss in 2016 and he made 30% profit in 2017. Similarly with S2, first year he made 25% loss, second year he made 5% loss, third year he made 15% profit. All these are percentages. Be careful, these are percentages and these are all in thousands, right? All in thousands here. So 20% profit, 15% loss, 30% profit and so on. So what do you understand now? Understand that? Let's talk about S1. If you look at 2015, this person, how much did he earn from S1? I'm looking at S1 in 2015. This data point, right? Amount earned, total amount that he has earned on shares S1 is 35,000. The profit is 20%. S1 2015 earning is 35,000, profit is 20%. Which means what? What is the investment that he had made? So this is the amount that he got. I invested something in S1 in 2015. Finally, I got 35,000 rupees, which includes a 20% profit. I made a profit of 20%. Which means what was the investment? See, this 35,000 is what? It is one. See, its amount is like your income. Basically, this is like income. If I have to put it in simple words, this is an income graph. You remember in data interpretation we have discussed about income and expense based data interpretation questions. Same thing. This is an income graph. This is a profit graph, profit percentage graph. Here of course loss is also given. Income graph and profit percentage graph. What can be found? The expenses can be found. So incomes are given to you, profits are given to you. Can you not find out the expenses? Yes. Income is 35,000. Profit is 20%. Expense is how much? So what do I know? If the profit is 20%, go back to our basics of profit loss. If the profit is 20%, I can say income is 120%. Implies 120% in this year for this share was 35,000. 100% in this year in this share is equal to what? This is what you need to calculate. You're getting it? Those who all are saying 42,000 are wrong. Remember, 120% is 35,000. This is income, amount earned. Amount earned is what you get as income, right? Incoming amount. What is outgoing is 100%. You spent 100 rupees, you got 120 rupees. You spent 35,000 rupees. Sorry, you got 35,000 rupees. That means how much did you spend? I can equate 35,000 to 120% because profit in that year on that share was 20%. So 120% is 35,000. 100% is equal to what? You're able to follow. Cross multiply to get the answer. When you cross multiply, you'll get the answer. So I can say my expenditure in this year was 100 into 35,000 divided by 120. Solve for this and you'll get it. Similarly, we can do it for other shares as well. I hope you have understood the data. See, understanding the data is very, very important. If you don't understand the data, then it will become complex. So, simple words, there is a line graph which is nothing but an income graph. There is a bar graph which is a profit percentage graph. Income is as good as selling price. So, you know the selling prices, you know the profit percentage. Can you find out the cost price? Yes. Cost price is expenditure. So, income is given or selling price is given, profit or loss is given, cost price or expenditure can be found. Keep this in mind. And let's look at the questions now. The first question from this data is on your screens now. Solve this. In 2018, the person buys S4 from the net profit he earned from S1 and sold it at a price equal to the amount of loss occurred by him in all shares. This should be incurred. I'm sorry about this spelling error. It should be amount of loss incurred by him on all shares. Find his profit percentage on the sale of S4. Interesting question, right? Not a simple one. You will have to do calculations to get the answer to those calculations. 11, 15, 8, 22, 34. These are the options given to you. What is he saying? He's introduced a new share now. He's introduced S4. He has introduced new year also, 2018. So in a new year, he bought another type of share from the net profit he earned from S1. This is S1 data, right? And he sold it at a price equal to the amount of loss that he made on all the shares. These are all the losses. See, this is about S1, this is about all the losses, amount of loss he made on all the shares. Find his profit percentage on scale of S4. Solve. Got it? I know this will take a little bit of time because good amount of calculation needs to be done. I will leave you all, I'll give you another minute to try it out. If you guys have given up, you can just confirm that in the chat that you are not able to get it, you got stuck, so that I get to know how many of you are able to solve these questions. Aarti has asked a question. Income is different from net profit. Yeah, income is not. See, Aarti, I'll tell you what the problem is, right? In our day-to-day, I can understand why you are confused. I'm not able to solve difficult, stuck is what most of you have mentioned, right? Difficult one, but still trying. Didn't get it correctly, skipped. Yeah. So I'm sure all of you are stuck. I will solve it for you. Don't worry. I'll help you with the working at least. You can do the calculation yourself. But before that, let me clear Aarti's confusion. Aarti's confusion is income different from net profit? I'll tell you why this problem. Why did this actually strike you? You know, in our day-to-day language, in our day-to-day communication, we usually have this habit of saying, you know, there's a lot of income in that business. And as far as I understand, as far as my knowledge goes, especially for those whose mother tongue is Hindi, I could be wrong, but my observation again is that people think income is profit. Income is not profit. Income is what you get. Not everything there is profit, right? There's also an expenditure that you have incurred, right? It's like there's a nice income, इसमें बहुत अच्छी income है. Income अच्छी है doesn't mean profit अच्छा है. Income is total amount that you're getting is good. If expenditure is also equally good, then what's the profit? Where's the profit, right? So don't get confused. Income is not profit. Income is like income is like selling price. You know what you get when you sell something. And expenditure is like cost price, how much you have spent, right? That's the analogy you must have in mind when you're solving such questions. Now let me explain the solution to you all for this one. I'm of the view that this place will not be sufficient for me to solve the question. I have very limited space here, but let me explain. So he's talking about a new year in 2018. The person buys S4 new share type, right? From the net profit he earned from S1, net profit of S1, net profit of S1. This is what we need to calculate first of all. Now, how do you calculate net profit of S1? Understand, we know that in S1, in the first year he made 20% profit, in the second year he made 15% loss, in the third year he made 30% profit. In same S1, in the first year he got 35,000 rupees, in the second year he got 70,000 rupees, in the third year he got 85,000 rupees. How do you calculate net profit? Understand, for the first year, I'm doing it here. S1 in 2015, first year, what happened? The income was 35,000, selling price was 35,000, profit is 20%. Remember, if the selling price, if the profit is 20%, what is selling price? 120%. All we have to do is compare and find out this 35% is equal to what? 35,000 is equal to what percentage? This 35,000 here is equal to 120%. This 35,000 is like 120%. Why is it 120%? Because the profit was 20%. If the profit is 20%, selling price is 120%. We have discussed this in our profit and loss videos. If the profit is 32%, selling price will be 132%. If the profit is 31%, selling price will be 131%. If the profit is 19.67%, selling price will be 119.67%. This is how it goes. So this 35,000 here represents 120% of the value. Similarly, this 70,000 represents what? Only 85% of the value. Why? The loss is 15%. When the loss is 15%, your income is only 85%. Because out of 100, 15% is gone. 15% is gone. Similarly, in the third year, he made a profit of 30% and the income made was 85,000, which means this 85,000 is equal to 130%. So we know these expenses in terms of equivalent percentages. You're getting it? We know these expenses, these incomes in terms of their equivalent percentages based on profit or loss. Profit, so 120, profit, so 130, loss, so 85, 100 plus or 100 minus, depending on profit or loss. Now we want to find out the net profit of S1, net profit of S1. See, what is the net profit in the first year? It is net profit means what? Absolute value in terms of rupees. I know that in the first year 120% is equal to 35,000 in the first year, so which means 120% is equal to 35,000. What is he asking me to find out? He's asking me to find out profit. Profit is how much? Only 20%. So if 120% is 35,000, 20% is equal to what? This is one dabba that you have to solve. Similarly, net profit, he says, profit of S1 in 2015 is this. What is the profit of S1 in 2016? It is loss, 15%. 85% is 70,000. The other dabba is 85% is 70,000, 70,000, sorry. 15% is equal to what? This is the other dabba that you have to solve. And the third dabba, meaning not dabba that sense, but yeah, the equation that you have to work on. And the third box is this 30%. I know that 130% is 85,000. 30% is equal to what? If 130 is 85, 30% is equal to what? Net of these three, adding all these three will give me the net profit of S1, which means it will be equal to this. Cross multiplication, right? 120 is 35, 20 is equal to what? So 20 into 35,000 by 120. Remember, this was profit year, so I'm taking plus. In the second rate, there was a loss, I'll have to take minus. This was 2015. In 2016, there is a loss, so I'm taking a negative sign. He lost this much money. Minus. How do you calculate? How do you do the calculation? 15 into 70 by 85. 15 into 70,000 by 85. Plus third year again there was a profit. How do you do the calculation? 130% is 85. 30% is equal to what? So 30 into 85,000 divided by 130. This is the first value that you have to calculate. Profit of first year, loss of second year, profit of third year. Profit minus loss plus profit will give me the net profit of S1. And this net profit of S1 is the amount that he has spent in buying S4 in 2018. You see, in 2018, he bought S4 from the net profit of S1. So what we have done so far is only the amount at which he bought S4. Right? This is like cost price of S4. You understand? Whatever we have done now is the cost price of S4. This is cost price of S4 is equal to net profit of S1 according to the question. Cost price of S4 is equal to the net profit of S1. That calculation we have done here. We know the cost price of S4. Let's also find out the selling price of S4. And then we can find out the profit percentage on the sale of S4. See, for you to find out the profit percentage on sale of any article or any goods, you should know the cost price and selling price. Cost price is known. Let's find out the selling price. What is the selling price? He sold it at what price? Sold it at a price equal to the amount of loss incurred by him on all the shares. Selling price of S4. What is the selling price of S4? Amount of loss incurred by him on all shares. What is the amount of loss incurred by him on all shares? This is loss. This is loss. This is loss. And this is loss. You have to add these four to get the selling price. Now do that. I'm sure you can understand the calculation, right? Total loss. Selling price of S4 is the total loss made by him. So he made loss on S1. How much? 15% that year. So 15 into 70 by 85. Same calculation. Similarly, plus, now come to this 25. This is for S2. So 25 into, what was S2 in this year? 40 into 40,000 by 75%. Remember, 25% loss means what? This is only 75%. Similarly, 5% here. This is for this one. 5%. So plus 5 into that 65,000 divided by 95. Why? If the loss is 5%, income is 95%. Then S2 is over. You cannot consider this because this is profit. We are only finding out total loss. Total loss. Then last item. What is the last item? He made a loss on S3 also in the second year. How much? 10%. So that 10% is equal to what? 10 into that year S3, that year was 45,000. 10 into 45,000. Sorry. 45,000. This is K. Space problem. That's a concern I have. A very limited space. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Let me write 10 into 45K. So the fourth value is plus 10 into 45K divided by 90%, because this 45 represents 90%. He made a 10% loss on S3, so this means income is only 90%. 90% is 45,000, 10% is what? That's what you are doing here. 95% is 65,000, 5% is what? 75% is 40,000, 25% is what? 85% is 70,000, 15% is what? This is a total loss. This is the total selling price and total cost price. Now you know the cost price and you know the selling price. He's asking you to find out the profit percentage. How do you calculate profit percentage? Selling price minus cost price by cost price into 100. Do that drama and we'll get the answer. I hope all of you have understood. I am not going to do the calculation, by the way, because I am very poor in calculation. You do it. Somebody says, please write fresh. No, please. I can't write all this again. If you want, I'll calculate. I will not write. See, it's simple. I know it is a little tricky. But if you go back and watch the video of data interpretation that we have, where we have talked about income, profit, graphs, it'll be easy. You've been given the incomes, you've been given the profits. All you have to do is make some khichdi out of it and get the answer. The first question is very complex. If you are a smart student, you will skip this question. Yes or no? It's not difficult, it's time consuming. It's not difficult. Difficult in terms of amount of time it takes, but otherwise conceptually it should not be difficult. You should know that I can find out the total cost price. You should know I can find out the total selling price and then get the profit percentage or loss percentage. Profit in this case. I mean, he says there is a profit, so you have to find out the profit percentage. But doing all this would take time. I am on your side only. I am backing you up when I am saying that this is difficult. It is time consuming, not difficult. And you should skip it. In the exam, you should skip it. Can we apply effective percentage method? No. Effective percentage method cannot be applied here because the base values are changing. Effective percentage can be applied only when the base value is same. So find out the total cost price, find out the total selling price, and then just see. What I would do is, as a student, if I'm writing the exam, I'll skip this. I'll look at second, third, fourth, fifth question in the same data. Easy ones I'll solve. And I'll mark this for review. Towards the end, if I find time, I'll come back to this question and solve it. Because I know definitely I can get the answer. The only thing is I may have to spend more than 1 minute. That's the point. So I'm leaving it here. You can solve it yourself. Let's now move to the next question. And options are also not very close. As such, you can do an approximate calculation like 11%, 22%, 34%, 8%, 15%. Not very close, right? I mean, you should definitely skip it, or definitely you should not solve it if the options are like 15%, 16%, 17%, 18%, 19%. Then you better skip. Okay. But 20 into 35 by 120, 20 by 120 is like 1 by 6. 1 by 6, 35,000 by 6 is 6,000. First value is done. How much time does it take? Second value here, which I wrote, is 15 into 70 by 85, right? What do you want to do? 15 by 85 is like 5.66. Actually 5.66. 5.66. 70,000 by 5.66 will be approximately 12 times, let's say. So 70,000 by 12. Yeah? That will be around 6,000. So 6,000 gets cancelled. And the last value is 30 into 85 by 130. So this is like what? This is 30 by 130 is like 1 by 3.33. 4.33, I'm sorry. So 85,000 by 4.33. That will come out around 20,000. So I think overall the cost price is going to be somewhere around 20,000. Find out the selling price and then you can do it. Anyway, calculation is your lookout. Let me present the next question. Here we go. Try this now very quickly. The original price of S3 in 2016 is approximately what percent of S1's original price in 2015 if S1 in 2015 was presented as 25% above the original price. Try this now. The original price of S3 in 2016 is approximately what percentage of S1's original price in 2015. So this is like X is approximately what percent of Y. X is what percent of Y, X by Y into 100. So original price of S3 in 2016 is what percentage of S1's original price in 2015. X by Y into 100. If S1 in 2015 was presented 25% above the original price. So there's one change in S1. Now what do you mean by original price? Original price is nothing but the price of the share in 2016. You're getting it? Similarly, so you know how to find out the original price of S3 in 2016, right? You know what is price, how to find out the price. It's like cost price, right? So do that for S3 in 2016. S3 in 2016, right? S3 2016 green, 10% loss. So basically 90% is 45,000. 100% is equal to what? Do that calculation. You're getting it? S3 in 2016 original price. So the calculation goes as follows, right? 10% loss, that means this is 90%. I want to find out what is 100%. Price is 100%, right? So 100 into 45,000 by 90,000. Similarly, S1 in 2015. S1 in 2015. First of all, find out the original price of S1 in 2015. How will you calculate that? S1 in 2015, he says 20%, right? S1 20%, and here it is 35,000. Profit is 20%. Implies this is 120%. I want to find out 100%. So 100% is 100 into 35,000 divided by 120. This is what we discussed in the beginning of this question, right? I told you how to find out the cost price. So basically this is cost price of S3 in 2016. This is cost price of S1 in 2015. So X is what percent of Y. But then S1 in 2015 was presented as 25% above the original price. If there's an if condition, if this was presented 25% above the original price, this means, which means the new value S1 in 2015 dash is like a higher value. How much? 25% more than this, which means, you know, I can simply say into 125 by 100. If you understand what I'm trying to do, I have to increase this value by 25%. So 100% is this plus 25%. It becomes 125%. So this is X and this is Y. Final answer is what? X by Y into 100. That calculation you have to do. X is what percent of Y? X is what percent of Y? X by Y into 100. So do this calculation. First calculate X, then calculate Y, You know why we have multiplied by 125 because we are increasing the price by 25%. So x by y into 100. You got to do that calculation there. Right? Again, my advice is don't simplify here itself and don't simplify here itself. First write everything in this format, x by y into 100, and then do the calculation. You're able to follow. So what I will do in the exam is, instead of solving x and solving y, right, let's write x by y. So x by y will be like this, right? 100 into 45,000 divided by 90 by y. So this will get multiplied by 100 into 35,000 into 125, and whatever is there in the denominator will go in the numerator, into 120 into 100 into 100. This is the calculation that you need to do. There is no other way out. X by y, 100 into 45 by 90 is x. Y is 35 into 125 into 100 divided by 120 into 100. X by y into 100. Do this calculation. 100 anyway gets cancelled, forget about it. This 1000 and 1000 also gets cancelled, don't worry about it. This goes 2 times, right? This is 25 into 4, this is 25 into 5. This is 5 into 1, this is 5 into 24, right? This is 12 times, right? 12 into 4. 12 into 4 is how much? 48. 48 by 35. So basically the answer is 48 by 35 into 100. And you know, you don't have to use 100 in your calculation, right? 48 by 35, this 48 can be taken as 35 plus 13. I am doing split and merge. You know what split and merge is, right? Go watch our videos on simplifications. So 48 is 35 plus 13. So 35 by 35 is 100%. 13 is approximately 10.5 and extra, right? 12, approximately 40%, slightly less than 40%. So my answer should be 100% plus 40%, 140%, approximately 140%. 140, 150. Yeah. I think options are not there at all. The closest I see is 150. Just check the calculation once. Basically, this is what you need to do. X by y into 100. X by y into 100. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Try this out now. The person invests the profit. Now let me just explain you the question. I think you can do the calculation yourself. The person invests the profit amount earned from the shares S1 in 2015 at a FD scheme for 1 year and earned a total interest of 1050 at the end of the year. Meanwhile, he invests the amount earned from the shares S2 in 2017 for the same period, but he earns 1650 more than the former investment. What is the difference between the rate of interest in the two schemes? So this is a combination of this question along with simple interest and compound interest concept, right? We have to find out the amount he has earned from S1 in 2015. This was invested for 1 year and he earned an interest of 1050. And then in the same period, he invested amount earned from S2 in 2017 for the same period, but he earns 1650 more than the former investment. What is the difference between the rate of interest in the two schemes? What's the difference between the rate of interest in the two schemes? You know how to do this, right? Again, the same thing. Find out S1, amount earned from S1 in 2015. How do you calculate that? Profit from S1 in 2015. How do you calculate this profit? S1 in 2015, right? So 20 into this 35,000 by 120. Profit earned from S2 in 2017. How do you calculate that? S2 in 2017. 15 into 90,000 divided by 115. So this was invested for 1 year. This also was invested for 1 year. The interest obtained on this is 1050. The interest obtained on this is 1650 more than that. So 2700, right? 1650 plus 1050, 2700. Calculate the percentages. Find out the rate difference in the rate of interest. See, it's a yearly calculation anyway, right? I mean, you understand. Invested for 1 year. So don't worry about simple interest or compound interest, right? For the first year, simple interest is equal to compound interest. So basically, you have to find out 1050 is what percentage of this value. Similarly, 1650 plus 1050 is what percentage of this value. we'll get the 2 percentages, take the difference of 2 percentages to get the required answer. Okay, I hope all of you have understood this. We are running out of time, so let me close it here. There are more questions attached with this data, but the other two are actually very simple. You just have to calculate 2 ratios. Ratio based questions. Like for example, if I present the next one, he says, what is the ratio between the original price of S3 in 2016 and S2 in 2015? We have already discussed how to find out original prices. So find out the original price of S3 in 2016, S2 in 2015 and get the ratio. Similarly, the last question is, what is the average profit or loss that happened in 2016? So for 2016, you know what's the data, right? Loss of 15% on S1, loss of 5% on S2 and loss of 10% on S3. Calculate all the 3 losses, divide by 3, you will get the overall loss. It is definitely going to be a loss only. That's why all the options are in loss. But what do you do? Find out the losses individually. S1 loss, S2 loss, S3 loss in 2016. And then take the average of those 3. So you see, 4th and 5th questions are very easy. 4th and 5th questions are very easy compared to the 1st and 2nd questions. And the 3rd one there, in fact. 3rd one also is very easy. You just have to take the 2 interest, find out the 2 rates of interest and then find out the difference between the 2. So the point that I'm trying to make here through this question is that, in a given set of data interpretation questions, where we have usually 5 questions, 1 or 2 may be really very complex or time consuming. You better skip those questions and only solve the rest to maximize your score in that limited time. And if you go with this strategy, I'm sure you'll be able to get a better score than what you would otherwise get if you tend to solve all the 5 questions in DI. All right. So I think the mantra is simple. Choose the easiest of the questions and solve them as quickly as possible. Okay. The time is same. All of us will have the same amount of time in the exam. We'll have the same questions in the exam. What will differ is the choice of your questions. Right. So if you choose your questions wisely, you'll be able to solve your questions fast. You'll be able to score more basically. And then your chances of selection will also get improved. Okay. So with that point, I would like to close this session. I have to rush for the IBPS PO main exam interview, like I've mentioned. Not my interview, but some mock interviews that we are conducting for our students. So thank you once again for joining us. We will meet again for the next session tomorrow. Your next session will be on general awareness for the same IBPS Clerk's main examination, and this session will be taken up by Sridhar at 11 AM tomorrow. So do join us with all your friends and get ready for this IBPS Clerk's main examination. I wish you the best from Team TalentSprint, and I hope that you guys do well in the examination and come back to us for your interview preparation or the preparation of the other exams that you're planning to take. Okay, so all the very best. Please do not practice anymore now. Don't get into preparation in the last 2 days, in the last 1 day that you have. Just try to keep yourselves relaxed, right? Maybe enjoy something other than preparation now, and keep yourselves focused for the D-Day, which is day after tomorrow, and I'm sure you will be able to perform well. Okay, so all the best and do well. We'll meet again in the next session.